إن شاء الله
على طول إن شاء الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله عليه وسلامه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته أجمعين. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد, عباد Allah, it's that time of year where we are getting close to the beginnings of the blessed month of Ramadan, the month of mercy and compassion, the month of rahmah and maghfirah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the month of the Qur'an in which we reconnect with the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and thus reconnect with His very words and reconnect with Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a month that we are all looking forward to, inshaAllah ta'ala, and all excited to see. And obviously with the advent of the month of Ramadan comes the advent of the khutab and the reminders all about Ramadan, what to do, what not to do, and how to get ready, inshaAllah ta'ala. So the first point that we start with, which we do this every single year, and it's like a sunnah now, a sunnah of Finchley, right? Not of Rasulullah, but a sunnah of North Finchley Masjid. The first thing we start off with is, why do we fast in the first place? Figure that out, inshaAllah ta'ala, then your love for fasting will increase and your want for it will get that much more deeper, inshallah, inside of your hearts in the ta'ala. So why do we fast? What is the answer to why we fast? Obviously we know we're supposed to abstain from our food and our drink and our carnal desires from dawn until sunset for 30 days straight until we see the new moon of Sha'ban. No, Shawwal. Sorry, we're in Sha'ban right now, aren't we? Got to get your months right, guys. So the reason why we fast, the reason why we abstain from all of this stuff is to do or to attain and acquire one thing and one thing only: the taqwa of Allah. That is why we fast. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. Before someone says, "Yeah, Shaykh, where's the dalil, bruv? Where's the proof?" I'll tell you where the proof is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, "O you who believe, fasting has been prescribed upon you." Yani you have to fast. Just like the people before you had to fast, so that you may acquire taqwa. And what is taqwa? Taqwa comes from the word wiqaya, which means to have some form of protection. Protection from what? The anger, the disappointment, the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And where does the wrath and anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala come from? It comes as a result of falling into the maharim of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those things that He has prohibited. Don't go near these things. You go near those things, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is disappointed, Allah is angry, and thus the wrath and the adhab, the punishment, comes as a result. So we protect ourselves from falling into the maharim of Allah. How do we protect ourselves from falling into the maharim of Allah? By doing that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to do, and abstaining from that which He doesn't want us to do. Do what is obligatory upon you. Earn what is halal, and stay away from everything that is haram. You have acquired taqwa. Simple, yeah? Nice and easy, inshallah ta'ala. Ramadan and fasting, it helps us to do that. Why? Because we are abstaining from things that are not even wajib. It's not obligatory for you to have a pizza. It's not obligatory for you to have pasta or a spaghetti bolognese or whatever other paratha or whatever you eat. I don't know, like your traditional dishes. Qabli pilau, right? There's a lot of Afghans here, mashallah. It's not obligatory for you to eat any of this stuff. It's not obligatory for you to eat meat. It's not obligatory for you to eat vegetables. It's not obligatory for you to drink any type of juice or any type of water or whatever Evian, whatever other brands of water that you drink. So you're abstaining from things that you don't need to abstain from, right? Nor is it necessary for you to fulfill your carnal desires every single day or every single month or every single week or every single time of day. So you're abstaining from things that you don't necessarily need to abstain from. If you do that with things that are not necessarily obligatory for you, then what about those things that are obligatory? Right? So fasting assists you in order to do that which is absolutely necessary for you to do. Does that make sense? So we get to the month of Ramadan, we start to fast, and if we can do it before that, inshallah, we should do it before that. That gives us a heightened sense of our purpose here in life. What are we here to do? We are here to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How do we not worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? By getting distracted by the affairs of the dunya, everything that's happening around us, our work, our money, our family, YouTube, Netflix, our want for entertainment, our want for instant gratification, our want for just to satiate our desires, all of these things that we constantly want on an instantaneous basis all the time, right? What Ramadan comes, it teaches us to delay our gratification. It teaches us to recognize that there is some form of hardship that we need to go through in order to acquire that which is amazing to acquire, which is a day of Eid and celebration and so on and so forth. We have to go through these steps in order to be better Muslims and connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All of these things Ramadan is teaching us. And all of these things coincide with taqwa. Okay. There's one thing else that is very, very, very important in Ramadan. What is it? It is the month in which something was revealed. What is it? The Qur'an, of course. SubhanAllah, preaching to the choir here. Everybody knows that the Qur'an was revealed in the month of Ramadan, right? شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. It is the month in which the Qur'an was revealed in. And in it is a night that is so blessed that it equates to 1,000 nights. Right? 1,000 months, sorry. خير من ألف شهر. This one night is equivalent, or better should I say, than 1,000 months. And more than your lifetime and then some. What is this night? It is the night of Laylatul Qadr. This month is amazing with regards to the Qur'an. The Qur'an has an amazing significance with regards to this month. So if we are obliged to connect with the Qur'an in this month, how does fasting help us to connect with the Qur'an? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, في مطلع سورة البقرة, in the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah, He says, ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. Allah. Alif Lam Mim, verily this is the book that there is no doubt in it, that it is from Allah, it contains guidance. Guidance for who? Those who have taqwa. Allah. So if we are connecting with the Qur'an, we are receiving guidance from the Qur'an, we are receiving that direction from the Qur'an that tells us what is right, what is wrong, what is moral, what is immoral, what to do, what not to do, how to be better people, and what is the way to become a better person. The only way we're going to unlock that is through our taqwa. How do we acquire taqwa? In the month of Ramadan, right? And what do we do in the month of Ramadan to acquire that taqwa? We fast. So everything is interconnected, brothers and sisters. There's nothing that is separate. It's like I do my fasting, then I do a bit of Qur'an, and everything is separate one from another. No, they are all intertwined, they are all connected. You fast, and you fast to the best of your ability, your connection with the Qur'an, despite it being something totally different from your fasting, is going to get that much better. And that's how the world works. It doesn't work with causality. It doesn't work with direct links that we can perceive and understand. Rather, it works with the tawfiq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set these things for us. He's described these things for us in the Qur'an. We take heed sometimes, but for the most part, because of Netflix and YouTube and all these other Instagram highlights and all that nonsense, we are constantly being distracted, and we are distracting our own selves from really connecting. So this is that time, inshallah, where we can prepare, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, in the month of Sha'ban, to prepare for the month of Ramadan. And what can you do right now in order to, when Ramadan comes, you can hit the ground running, and you're not necessarily clutching at straws and trying to figure out, how do I acquire taqwa? Oh, I just realized that I'm supposed to be connected with the Qur'an and stuff like that, right? What you can do is, first and foremost, tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? We said that taqwa essentially is two things: doing what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to do, and abstaining from that which He doesn't want you to do. All of us in this room do things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want us to do. 100%. Why? Because we're human beings. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted for a people to be on this earth sinless, He would take them up to Him and replace them with the people who were sinning, so that He can forgive them, because He is Arhamur Rahimin. He is the most compassionate and the most merciful. So we all commit sins. What we need to do is we need to make tawbah for those sins. We need to return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, seek His forgiveness, and rectify ourselves and overcome those bad habits, so that in Ramadan we're not fighting ourselves with regard to these bad habits. If you're watching things that you shouldn't be watching, even in incognito mode, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can still see you. He still knows. Stop doing that now. When Ramadan comes, you're not fighting that urge. You've already won. If you're wasting your time on social media, cut it off now, so that when Ramadan comes, you're not fighting the urge to constantly check your phone, and have that bad habit is continually doing it. I know myself, right? Every time I turn my phone on, my thumb automatically goes onto the WhatsApp icon. Ajib. I don't even want to go on WhatsApp, and I'm just on it. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Let me just check messages, right? So for you, I'm sure other people have similar experiences with other things. The point is, abstain from that now. Inshallah, when Ramadan kicks in, inshallah, you're ready to go, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Have a connection with the Qur'an from now. Start your recitation, start some form of introduction of the Qur'an into your daily life from today. If you're able to do it now, when Ramadan comes, you're not scrambling and trying to organize your time and trying to fit the Qur'an in. We always complain, isn't it, brothers and sisters, that I don't have time to recite the Qur'an. I don't have time to do extra ibadah. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. Brothers, sisters, you have time. Everybody has time. It's not up there with regards to the list of priorities and importance with regards to the things that you do. There are other things that you feel are more important, that take up your time, that override and supersede that recitation of Qur'an, those acts of ibadah, and even fasting. If you were to fast now, those pangs of hunger that you're going to feel when you get into Ramadan, you're not going to feel them as severely. Everybody knows that when you get into Ramadan, you get a bit headache, you don't have your coffees in the afternoon or whatever, lack of water, you get a bit aggy. You do that now, inshallah. When Ramadan kicks in, you're sorted. You have no frustrations and no angst and no anger, inshallah ta'ala. Everything will be good. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would fast copious amounts in Sha'ban. And it was even said that he would fast almost all of Sha'ban up until the final days of Sha'ban, where he would look out for Ramadan, so he wouldn't be fasting a day before Sha'ban, before Ramadan kicks in, and so on and so forth. But the point is, he would fast a lot in the month of Sha'ban. If you have any previous fasts from the previous Ramadan, make sure you make them up before the new Ramadan kicks in. The Aisha radiallahu anha, she would say that I would always make up my fast that I missed in the previous Ramadan by the end of Ramadan, and if I hadn't done so, as soon as Sha'ban would come in, I would make sure that all of my fasts were done and dusted with before the onset of the new Ramadan coming in. And some of the ulama and the fuqaha, they say that it is actually impermissible for you to carry on any qada fasts of the previous Ramadan post the next Ramadan. So you got to do it before the next one. So that is even more, insha'Allah, impetus and stimulus to fast and do those acts of worship, insha'Allah ta'ala, in the build up to Ramadan. You get all of those things sorted out, brothers and sisters, you're going to hit the ground running when it comes to Ramadan, and you're really going to benefit from it. Hassan al-Basri radiallahu anhu, he would say that the month of Rajab would be the month of placing your seeds in the ground, right? And the month of Sha'ban is when you water the ground. And the month of Ramadan is when you harvest all of the crops that grow from that ground that you have tilled from Rajab and Sha'ban all the way to Ramadan. Now we've missed Rajab, right? And no one done nothing in Rajab. We're in Sha'ban towards the end. So far I've done very little in the build up to Ramadan. There is still time, inshallah, to catch up bi'idhnillahi ta'ala with regards to our acts of worship in the build up to Ramadan, inshallah ta'ala. خَيْرُ النَّاسِ أَنْفَعُهُمْ لِلنَّاسِ. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that the best of you is the one who is most beneficial to people. In Ramadan, when we think of it, we think of recitation of Qur'an, we think of Taraweeh, and that's about it. That's about pretty much most of the acts of worship that we're going to be doing. And then obviously we fast, just like normal, and then we have the iftar. But we know that the most beneficial to people are the best of people. And there are many other ways that you can worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala outside of your rak'atan of Taraweeh and outside of your qira'ah of the Qur'an. Even though these things are on their top priority list, there are other things that you can do. الدَّالُ عَلَى الْخَيْرِ كَفَاعِلِهِ. The one who signposts others towards good will get the same reward of the person who does that good. So if you are signposting people to pray, if you are signposting people to break their fast, if you are helping others and assisting others to in their acts of worship and their actions of goodness, then you will get a share in that reward. The person who breaks the fast of a fasting person will get the same reward, وَلَا يَنْقُصُ مِنْ أَجْرِهِ شَيْئًا. And his reward, the person who is fasting, his reward won't be taken away in the slightest. So if you are assisting others in breaking their fast, whether that is by supplying them food, or whether that is by serving them food, or assisting them in any way, shape or form on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday of Ramadan, or in the last 10 nights of Ramadan, when we have iftar downstairs, if you are helping out in those areas, then inshallah you will get a share of the reward of the people who are fasting. Isn't that amazing? If you wish to help out with regards to stewarding in Ramadan, helping people in Taraweeh, you will get a share of the reward of all of those who you are signposting on to pray. الدَّالُ عَلَى الْخَيْرِ كَفَاعِلِ. The one who signposts others to good will get a share of the reward in that good, insha'Allah ta'ala. So there are so many different ways that you can help out in Ramadan and that you can be of benefit to people, instead of being just that person that comes in, takes a space, and that's it, just for yourself. You're just worshipping for yourself, rather you are benefiting others, insha'Allah ta'ala, with your presence, inshallah. من صام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. Whoever fasts the month of Ramadan with absolute assurity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to accept it from him, then Allah Azza wa Jal will forgive him his sins, all of those that preceded the fast of Ramadan. And if you are good in your fast, inshallah, then you will receive that reward. If for whatever reason you flop, you waste your time, you watch things that you're not supposed to watch, even in incognito mode, if you are wasting time on Netflix and watching films and so on and so forth, if you are frivolously talking to others and backbiting and so on and so forth and wasting your time doing absolute nonsense, if you are spending all your time just in the dunya and nothing with regards to your akhirah and so on and so forth, if all of this is your situation during the day in Ramadan, then let it be that man qama Ramadana imanan wa ihtisaban ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbi. If you can't do it during the day, then do it during the night. Stand up in prayer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that whoever stands in prayer out of certainty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept it from him, Allah will forgive all of the sins that preceded this Ramadan, insha'Allah ta'ala. So if you can't do it during the day, do it during the night. If you can't do it during the night because you have work the next day and so on and so forth and you can't stay up and whatnot, then do it during the day, insha'Allah ta'ala. Either way, you can't lose in Ramadan. So after all of this, brothers and sisters, if someone comes to Ramadan and despite hearing this reminder and despite knowing what his obligations are and his priorities are, wastes his time or her time in Ramadan and doesn't make the most of their time, what would you say about this person? Would you not say that they are foolish? Would you not say that they have their priorities mixed up? Would you not say that there is some safa, there's some idiocy in their minds, that they don't know and don't know what to do and don't know how to prioritize their time? They don't know what's important in life. They don't know what to do with regards to what to say that is good and righteous and what to abstain from that is bad. Would you not say this about this person? 100% you would. So do not be that person, brothers and sisters. Don't be that person that comes to the end of Ramadan and says, you know what a flop that was. What a waste of time that was. I had so much time on my hands and I could have done so many good things, but I didn't. And here I am rejoicing with my family. What do you have to rejoice about when you have wasted your time in the whole month, brothers and sisters? So inshallah, let this be that reminder, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, for myself first and foremost, and for everybody else in this room. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq to make the most of this Ramadan, to become better Muslims inshallah, and to be beneficial for the rest of humanity. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو